Hi, and today we're going to try solving some quadratics by factorising. So we've looked before at how you can factorise a quadratic expression. For example, x squared plus 6x plus 8. This is an expression we want to put it into brackets. That's what factorising means. So if I think about this, I remember that if I start with two brackets, let's imagine that we had x plus 2 and x plus 4. We use the FOIL method to make sure that we've multiplied everything out. So we do x times x gives me x squared. X times 4 gives me plus 4x. 2 times x gives me plus 2x. And 2 times 4 gives me 8. Simply by writing by timesing x times x. So we can write that into the brackets straight away. How do we get the 6 at the end? Well, there's a variety of things that would multiply together to give us 6, specifically positive 6. We could do 1 times 6. We could do minus 6 times minus 1. We could do 3 times 2, or we can do minus 2 times 3. Now, if you look at that set of answers, only one pair will add together to give us the 6. So those must be the ones we use. So all I'm going to say now is that this must be plus 3 plus 2. Now we can check that. X times x gives me x squared. X times 2 gives me 2x. 3 times x is 3x. And finally 3 times 2 is 6. Adding the middle bits together, that works perfectly. What we're looking to be able to do though is to take an expression like x squared plus 7x plus 12 and recognise straight away that it's going to be x times x and times together to make 12, add together to make 7. So I'm going to do that thing again of thinking about what times this together make plus 12. 1 times 12, that makes 13 if I add, so that's not very useful. 2 times 6, that makes 8. Or 3 times 4, I don't need to go any further, that's the solution I wanted. So this would be plus 3 and plus 4. Now, we can use this to solve a quadratic equation. Here I have x squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. The thing that makes this an equation rather than an expression is that it equals 0. And whenever we use this method, and in fact for nearly all of the methods for solving quadratic equations, it must equal 0 before we do it. So we know that we can rewrite this, you see, as x plus 3 brackets x plus 4 still equals 0. That's the same as that. This one is the same as this one. They're equal to each other. They're just written in different ways. And why this is useful is because if any of the brackets equals 0, if that bracket is 0, for example, or if that bracket is 0, then the whole thing is 0 because they're times together. And anytime you multiply by a 0, you get 0. So how do we make the yellow bracket equal 0? To make the yellow bracket equal 0, we need x to equal minus 3. And for the green bracket to equal 0, we need x to equal minus 4. We've solved that equation with two answers, which is normal. So here we've got the quadratic equation. Oops, I haven't got rid of the bottom. Let me just rub those. Let me just rub those out. So back to here. Let's just see how to do this one. Well, I know I need to put it into brackets first. Factorising is the quickest way of solving a quadratic equation, and this one will factorise. I know that I need x in both brackets. I have to make 21 by timesing. So I'm just going to write that down here. Could be 1 times 21. Seems unlikely. That makes 22 if we add. Or it could be 3 times 7. That's nicer. That gets me 20. That gets me 10. So the solution is x plus 3, x plus 7 equals 0. So x must equal minus 3 to make the first bracket equal 0. And x must equal minus 7 to make the second bracket equal 0. A final example, which just brings up a little something different. In the previous ones we've seen there have been two answers. That's acceptable. Sometimes we get a repeated answer. For example, x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. So I need to put this into brackets to get the solution. I'm going to start by putting an x in both brackets. I'm going to think about what times is together to make plus 36. I could do 1 times 36. The obvious one that occurs to me is 6 times 6. And that's the one I want to use because 6 adds 6 makes 12. So this must be plus 6 and plus 6. So overall, I've just double checked that. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 6 times x is 6x altogether. 12x, good. And 6 times 6 is 36. So I now need to solve the equation. So that equals x equals minus 6 or x equals minus 6. It's the same answer twice. It's a repeated answer. Okay, good luck with the questions I've set you. Any problems, email me.